saying, I don't know if you know, but I have a deep interest, a lot of my life to geology, crystals, gold.
Oh, really?
Way before I ever started going down this road of truth, I spent a lot of my years in mines and tailing dumps, searching for crystals and different rocks.
You're a treasure seeker.
I've always been a treasure hunter my entire life since I've been a child.
Actually, I have too. I have to tell you a story. When I was 16, I just learned to drive, and I don't know how I found out about this guy, but I was exceedingly interested in geology and all the different rocks and stuff that we found in Arkansas. And
that's awesome.
And I met this guy, and I swear to God, this was his name. His name was Abe Lincoln.
Oh, wow.
And he was an old guy. He was probably 75 at the time.
Well, he'd have to be, right?
Well, yeah. He lived at this place called Lake Atlantis, which is this little natural lake in the northwest corner of Arkansas, where they had turned it into kind of a theme park with a swimming pool and a bunch of stuff. But the idea that it was named Lake Atlantis was really cool.
Yeah, that's another synchronicity that's weird too.
Well, it turns out some rich dude from way back when, like in the 1890s or so, brought a bunch of money into the northwest corner of Arkansas, and he was going to build a resort hotel that was fashioned based on the architecture out of Egypt.
Wow, that's just so weird how that could just run into your synchronicity. It's just so strange.
It gets better. It gets better. So he actually built a pyramid there, and all these places, to make it look like you were in Egypt. And actually, when they decided to dam up the White River in Arkansas, it flooded and created Beaver Lake. And so this whole edifice got covered in water.
Oh my God! It's the underwater city of Atlantis, right?
Yeah.
Modeled after Thoth's creation of the pyramids. I mean,
it's just crazy. I can't even believe I'm telling you. You can look it up. It's for real, though. Anyway, this guy lived right next to this place at Lake Atlantis, and I somehow found out about him because he was selling metal detectors.
Which I had one too. It's funny, our paths have gone down.
So he was the White's and Garrett metal detector rep in the area, and so I had my mom take me over to his house, and I was looking at all these newspaper articles all over his wall and all the gold he's found standing there with metal detectors.
Wow!
And I was so blown away. And so I bought a book on treasure hunting that he had for sale there. I bought a metal detector, and I bought the dune buggy that he had out back that he was selling that he used to go treasure hunting in.
That's right up. That's like exactly what I would.
My mom thought I had absolutely lost my mind.
I love that stuff. That's like
this bright orange fiberglass body with a roll bar and big sand tires on it. A big 1600 dual port engine in it. This thing was badass looking.
That's awesome. I would have gone anywhere with you on that thing.
I bought this thing, and I had my metal detector. I'd throw my dog in here, and I'd go pull up a map and go, where were these old houses that used to be covered by the lake that are now exposed because nobody knows about them? I'm going to go find them. And I'd go out to these places, and I'd come home with hundreds and hundreds of coins.
Really? Hundreds, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's like somebody took that out of their pocket and was just throwing it around the yard. I was like, wow.
Wow.
And they're all like 1930, 1940 era, right before the lake covered up the whole structure. So they must have run a bunch of people out, told them the lake was coming in. And by eminent domain, they got the land and whatever. So all this stuff was submerged. But anyway, so I started out as a treasure hunter. And I spent, I don't know, countless hours at my dune buggy with my dog and my metal detector, just away from everybody, searching for my treasure.
It's fascinating and amazing to me to hear that because I see the exact same path as my own. And I wonder if those unique, like you and I, are all just treasure hunters. Is that what always ends up being the path? As a child, let me tell you this. I know that I didn't really realize that I was different as aware as I should have been. As a child, I'd be in these after-school programs. It's school playgrounds, these big open playgrounds outside, and every kid would be playing. Every single child would be playing with other kids doing stupid games, and I was always, every single day, I had no interest in that stuff. I was always off on the ground, looking around for rocks and crystals and stuff, and I would find the most bizarre things in the schoolyard. Indian head pennies. I once found a piece of topaz that had somehow survived from some when they had taken rocks from some quarry somewhere and crushed them all up.
You were so funny. You're just like me.
And
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Remind me to tell you the story when I was in Korea, but keep talking.
Okay, and so we're talking like 6, 7, 8 years old, and from there, I became someone who would seek out mine dumps and search for precious crystals all over the place. In college, people would be drinking, or in high school, people would be drinking, go to parties, and I would be off like searching for crystals and jewels and rocks. That was me, and that's why I didn't have a lot of friends or girlfriends or anything like that. And then it progressed into a pretty serious interest in gold, where I've
Really?
I've been
You were interested in gold very early.
well, gold and crystals all early, but then I started getting very interested in gold to where I started prospecting for gold. I've been doing it for well over 20 years. I know a lot about alluvial gold deposits, a lot more than most people do.
Well, I didn't really start learning about it until several years ago when I actually went on a gold prospecting trip up in the Sierra Nevadas with somebody who actually had a huge stake up there, and he actually took me under his wing and took me gold panning with him. I got some pictures of it. I'll show it to you sometime.
That'd be awesome. That's somewhere so that stuff is what took my time. That's where my time was.
Well, it got you out of nature where you wanted to.
Yes. And I want to say I wasn't just doing that. I hike everywhere. I backpack, camp. You know, I was just always doing a multitude of things. I also love to fish. I fly fish all the time. So I have a multitude of all those activities that were taking my life. And it wasn't until college that certain events led me to writing. So the truth stuff and the writing stuff didn't come until later in my life.
Well, so what did you study in college? I'm curious.
I actually started with meteorology, but then with the math and all the things involved in that, it was just too much, and I immediately transitioned to geography, where I became, I basically studied everything. My whole studying career was remote viewing and physical geography, basically.
Yeah.
That's what I am.
So let me tell you a little bit more, just to keep going along this path. First of all, there's a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Cohelo. Have you read it?
No, I have not.
Oh, well, listen, based on this conversation right now, if you were to read that, you'd fall over dead.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are alchemists. We're just extremely metals and elements.
Let me give you a snippet out of the story. It starts focused on a young boy who's trying to seek his I don't know, his treasure, whatever it is he's supposed to be doing on this planet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he analogizes it to finding gold. Okay, this is true for all of us.
Yeah, I see that.
And so he seeks out to find his treasure, and he has an encounter with the alchemist, who steers him on his path and tries to, so Thoth is the alchemist. Likes treasure seekers because he wants people that are seeking not for material gain, because that's only a representative, like turning lead into gold. He sees
like the adventure almost.
Well, it's people that are willing to do what it takes to find and be who they want to be. So I used to have the saying that happy are those that are willing to dream dreams, or happy are those that dream dreams and are willing to do what it takes to make it come true. Because I wanted to know what happiness when I was a kid, because I didn't have a very happy childhood like a lot of kids did.
Yeah.
So I glommed onto that. But anyway, so I was a treasure hunter just like you. Well, fast forward to Korea, just to give you kind of an idea of my personality. I was over there stationed in Chuncheon, Korea, right near the demilitarized zone for a year.
Wow.
I was 21 years old. I thought I was going to flight school in Fort Rucker, Alabama. That's the papers I signed. And somehow they redirected me, said, no, we want you to fix them first before you fly them. And I'm like, do I have a choice in this? And they're like, no. Next thing I know, I found my butt in maintenance school off to Korea for a year.
That must have been pretty scary, huh?
Well, I was really pissed and down on myself because that's not what I signed up for.
I'd also be pretty wary going from doing that in Arkansas to being in a battle zone almost, basically.
Yeah. So it was a rough place. Anyway, I was an adventurer, and I never lost my treasure hunting. And I kind of took off one day with my backpack and went cruising around, just walking, trails out in nature as close as I could get to it. And
in South Korea?
Yeah.
Like.
It's very mountainous. There's a lot of terrain relief. You can look at it. The area I was in is called Chuncheon. Anyway, it turns out there was a jade mine, and the tailings were laying out of the ground. It was kind of fenced off, said keep out. And I thought, well, nothing says I can't go up to these tailings. They're all over the damn place. They're huge rocks of jade.
Yeah, you just stay out of the mine, basically.
Yeah. So I grabbed as much of that jade as I could.
That's awesome.
And I threw it in my backpack. And oh my God, this thing was heavy. And I walked back to the base with it, and I put it in my locker.
Any high quality stuff? Any good stuff?
Well, actually, there was some really, really nice emerald colored jade with all the veins through it. And I took some of that. We had a craft shop on the post.
You polish it up?
And I actually designed a jade letter opener out of a long blade made out of this green jade, and I fashioned a wooden handle for it. And then I learned to pour metal so that I could attach the handle to the stone. So I was into lapidary, and I was doing this while everybody was out, chasing whores and getting drunk.
Oh my gosh!
That's not to say I wasn't that way too, but I got over that pretty quickly, and I was like,
it was like a much shorter phase than anyone else.
Yeah, I got back to myself pretty quickly. Yeah, and I kind of hung to myself like that. And even when I was in Fort Riley, Kansas, I spent a lot of time out in nature by myself because I grew up exploring caves. Finding Indian artifacts everywhere, and
you can't kill that in you, it's like part of you.
It never went away, So that's very much me. I'm still that way. I love to go panning and.
We better go gold panning and exploring together, my friend. We'd have.
Yeah, I learned a lot about it. I learned the dry methods. I learned the wet methods. I learned what they were doing up these big claims up in the Sierra Nevadas. And by the way, these guys were so fascinated by the naturally occurring monoatomic gold. There were puddles of water that had leaked through limestone and had different acids in it and stuff. Well, when you have gold exposed to an acid, it goes to colloidal suspension in the water.
It's amazing to think. I want to go back, though. I also seeing it being kind of incredible that of all the elements you got exposed to in South Korea, it was jade, which is the very same element that the Mayans considered more valuable to themselves than gold. Yeah, because they carved all their elements out of it.
It didn't stop there. I was actually, when I was a VP of engineering at LightPoint Communications in about 2001, I had to do business in China. We set up a distributor over there. We were building products to serve the Chinese market. And because of that, I got one Saturday to myself. Are you still there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm working while I talk to you guys. I have to still do this job. So
no worries. There's a lawnmower going outside. I didn't know if you could hear me. So
yeah, I can.
So anyway, I got a chance to go while I was in Korea to see the Great Wall, and I got to go to the Ming Dynasty burial grounds.
Wow. Cool.
Well, when I was at the Ming Dynasty burial grounds, what an amazing place, by the way. Jade was of premier importance to the Ming Dynasty emperors, and they were buried with the stuff in their mouths and all kinds of crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, right outside the burial grounds, and this is thousands of years old, this place. Right outside it is a little village that's still there that was commissioned to do all the jade work for the emperors way back when.
Cool.
And they're still there, still building jade, different statues and things, and they have a whole group of artisans and a whole museum on site there. That's
really neat.
It is amazing. I walked into this place, and of course, as part of the tour, they're taking you by these places, trying to get the Americans to spend their money on the little gift shops and everything, right? So they're all in cahoots with each other. So anyway, I'm walking in here, and I walk in, and there's an entire wall covered with a sailing armada that took them 18 years to do, of these ships cruising across the ocean made out of jade.
Wow.
One piece, okay? And I was looking around, I was like just blown away by this place. And
that's really neat.
I looked over to my right, and poised on all four paws was a full-size emerald green jade tiger.
Wow.
And it was like in a crouched position, like it was about to leap.
I would love to find something like that.
Oh my God. I saw that thing. I'll give you a picture of it. But I saw that, and I saw the price on it. I was like, wow, that's pretty expensive. And I was just cruising around. I wasn't there to buy anything.
How much was it?
It was 68,000 RMB.
Which is,
if you divide it by 8, it was over $8,000, which is pretty high for something out of China.
Especially being in Eastern Asia.
Yeah, so you got a museum full of this stuff, okay? There's like hundreds and hundreds of items in here, so it's like, wow. Anyway, so I thought, and of course, they as soon as you stop and look at something, there's an agent or a salesperson right on you like a tick, right? And some woman comes up some woman comes up to me, and I'm obviously admiring this jade tiger, looking at it from all angles. And she asked me if I wanted to buy it, and I said no, but maybe
it's beautiful though. Thank you.
I said maybe it's worth $2,000 or $3,000, but I think that's too much. I shot off at my mouth, and I knew we were leaving on the bus in 10 minutes or whatever. So I was like, whatever. So I go get on the bus, and I'm all the way in the back. I go out first, and everybody mingles in. The bus driver's ready to leave, and all of a sudden, he's closing the door, and somebody comes and knocks on the door.
Oh my God! It was her.
No, it was some guy. I don't know who it was.
Oh.
And he gets on the bus, and says something to the driver, and he starts marching his ass straight to the back of the bus. And he goes, "We'll accept your offer."
Wow! It was like you were joking about it, and then they were actually.
Yeah. Well, so I was like, "What?" And the bus driver's got this huge grin on his face. He goes, and I was like, "No, we're ready to go. I'm not serious." And the bus driver goes, "Oh no, I wait."
Because they're all going to take some kind of a profit from it, right? Even the bus driver.
Absolutely. Oh, especially the bus driver.
Yeah.
Well, that's his gig. He could take these tour groups anywhere he wants. It's like if he takes them over here and they get a sale, then they're like, keep bringing them back. We'll incentivize.
Yeah. That's funny.
So
what happened with the jade?
Well, I walked back in and I was like, well, what price are we talking about here? And I said, I wrote something down, and she goes, oh, okay. And I said, well, can I put it on a credit card? How the hell do I get it to the U.S.? And I was like, I can't even believe I'm doing this. I never bought anything on travel like that before. And the thing weighs 400 pounds, okay? It's onerous.
Wait, how much does it weigh?
Over 450 pounds.
Holy, I thought we were talking about a little small thing.
It's life size, dude.
Oh my God, I had no idea. I think you put it in your hand and.
No. So that's why I'm saying, $2,000 or $3,000 for a life-size jade tiger.
Oh my God.
So I bought it on my credit card, and little did I know I was basically just entered the import-export business, and I had no idea.
Interesting.
So I had to go get a customs broker,
because that's
shipping agent, and because of the price and the weight, I was in a different category and all this. So after about $300 or $400 greasing palms, meeting custom agents and the whole thing, it finally showed up at the dock in San Diego about a month later.
And you could have sold it for significantly more money.
Well, I went down, had it priced at an art gallery in La Jolla, a real ritzy place, just to see what it was worth. And they told me they would give me $12,000 for it.
And you paid a lot less than that.
Yeah, I paid about $2,500 or $3,000 for it.
So yeah, it was a huge. But I mean, that's obviously not why you did it.
But the reality was that I didn't tell you the story. A panther or a tiger like that looked like that was my spirit animal. It had been since I was a kid.
Wow.
So I bought
perfect synchronicity.
Isn't that great? Well, I put that in my Seven Planet Mercury Rising, that this was a synchronicity for me. This Mercury, this cougar, it was a cougar, right? Well,
it wasn't a tiger. Was it a cougar or a tiger?
It looked more like a panther than they called it a jade tiger, but it truly looked like a panther. I'll see if I can find a picture and I'll give it to you. I had it for years, had it in my office, carried it all around with me, and saved it from an earthquake falling over when we were where I met Krista. And finally I ended up, I couldn't travel with it anymore because I was just paring down to living in a travel trailer.
Giant.
And I ended up selling it to a guy, he put it on trust. Basically said, I'll keep it for you, but I'll buy it from you for $1,000 and hold it here and you can have it back anytime you want.
You trust him?
Yeah, I did. And actually, at that point, I'd had my use of it, and I wasn't really trying to get money out of it. And I was at a place I couldn't move a 450-pound piece of rock around with me. Okay,
it's so big.
I was living in a studio apartment on the second floor with the thing. Okay.
Wow.
And I drug it up there myself. It was just crazy. And about that point, I was like, okay, this is crazy. I can't. When I had a big house and it was in my den, great. But now it just doesn't work. So it was.
It's really neat, though. What a story.
It was symbolic to me, though, of me giving up the path where I was kind of still living by that spirit animal. I was kind of a vicious type A guy.
I was too, a little bit.
Very competitive, and
me too.
I loved being in the ring and fighting, and and I felt like I was on a spiritual path now, and I was moving beyond that. But anyway.
So like giving up the jaguar was not about giving up a spiritual path. It was about giving up the fighting path.
Yeah, actually, it was kind of the way of the peaceful warrior path. I knew that
Yeah.
was my spirit animal, but I didn't have to have it out in front of me all the time anymore.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I really do.
So anyway, so
That's a great story.
yeah. So the fact that it involved Jade and a cougar like that,
Yeah.
and actually, I really saw it as a cougar. And when they told me it was called a jade tiger, I was like, no, you guys don't understand. We call those mountain lions or cougars.
They probably misunderstood what it is. It probably was a jaguar.
Yeah, yeah, it truly was. And I have pictures of it. And you see it, you'll go, oh yeah, that's a panther.
Yes, but probably a black panther.
Well, that's exactly right. When I was growing up in Arkansas, another story, since we're telling stories today.
No, I love to know about
I used to hang out in these caves, these limestone caves that were close.
Cool. I love caves
these
too.
were huge caves where they were mining the limestone out. They were driving huge, massive trucks in and out of these things. And you have the pillars inside holding it
Yeah.
up. And it was pretty extensive. Well, I was in there one time, to make a long story short, by myself. And I had an encounter with a black panther that was cruising around in there hunting.
What was it doing there?
Hunting.
Yeah, but I didn't think we had any
Oh, yeah.
panthers that lived there.
Well, there are panthers all over in the United States, even black ones.
Wow, I didn't realize there was
Absolutely.
any black ones in that area. That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're kind of a genetic anomaly, but they show up.
Okay.
Anyway, I had an encounter with this thing, and it scared the living hell out of me. I thought I was doomed.
Was it in there, or what happened?
Well, I walked into this cave, and I was always cruising around by myself looking for treasures, right? And
Me too.
and inside this cave, it was just a really neat place to get away from the house, and it was about a mile or two away from where we lived, and it was totally backwoods. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'd go up there all the time. It was just one of my hangouts. We'd take cardboard and slide down the gravel that they'd pile up from the where they had a crushing machine where they would take the limestone and make gravel, right?
Yeah.
They'd make huge piles of this. We'd get on top of it with a piece of cardboard and slide down it, just to have fun. They'd chase us off.
Sounds like a great time.
Oh, it was a good time. But this was one of my hangouts, and I used to go fishing really close to there too. And we went camping there underneath a railroad bridge that was not even a quarter mile from the spot. So it was like our getaway place. Right?
You and I would have gotten along really well as kids.
Yeah, we were probably brothers in a past life. You know?
Yeah, I did, probably.
Anyway, I was up there just doing my thing like normal, and all of a sudden I got this awareness that there was something else in the cave with me. And it was kind of dark, but near the openings there was plenty of light that you could see. And I just stopped and got real still. And of course, there's water dripping and different sounds in the cave all the time.
Love that.
Yeah,
That feeling inside there.
Yeah. So I stopped and I got real still, and I kind of used my triangulation to figure out where this sound was that I heard. I heard like something walking, something made a noise.
Ooh, you weren't scared?
I was actually petrified.
Yeah, but something made you want to know what it was.
Yeah, and I think I was probably 10 or 11, I guess, something like that. I was pretty young.
Wow.
So anyway, no, actually, I was younger than that. We moved to Arkansas in 1970, and the first place we lived was this place, and I was 7. So I was between 7 and 10, something like that. So I looked over, and I saw.
Little do your parents know you're
They had no idea.
like in a cave with a black panther all alone.
So I look over in this direction and toward the back of the cave. Where I thought this sound was coming from. And this is a big cave, okay? I mean, this was probably 300 feet away.
Wow.
It looked up, and I could see the light hitting its eyes. You know how like a cat's eyes will glow in the dark?
It reflects right back to you.
I saw that, and I was like, I didn't know if it was a cat or a dog or just what. But then it moved, and I saw the outline of its body. And it went through like a beam of light coming through one of the entrances of the cave where it would shine across so I could see it. It was leaving to go away from me, but it was slinking, So I saw it from its rear quarter while it was looking back at me. It was kind of looking back at me while it was walking, right? Just like this jade tiger or this thing I saw in this museum. That's what made me buy it, I think.
That's really synchronicity fascinating. That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? So it scared the hell out of me. I picked up a rock and threw it and screamed, did whatever I did, and I ran out of the cave. There were multiple entrances to the cave where you could come in. And the side that I would usually come in was the side that was overgrown with brush that you could walk down the hill to get across the creek and go back home.
You're lucky that panther didn't chase after you.
Oh man! Well, I think I knew as a Arkansas hillbilly that you never ran from an animal.
You don't run from any animal; they chase you, no matter what it is.
You got to stand up, throw things at it, make a bunch of noise, and you'll generally just scare it away.
Walk slowly, facing it. Never turn your back to an animal.
Yeah. So I didn't run until I saw it had already hauled ass, but I got out of there quick. I knew this was its hunting ground, and I'll tell you what, that never left me. I actually, right now, I brought that story so to life. I got the shakes started. I remember that as a kid. It was scared the hell out of me. So anyway,
I got a story to tell you after.
I got over that fear, and I got really to the place where I didn't have any fear of any critters in nature except for flying, stinging things.
Maybe those are vents. Because I had an event very similar to that. Maybe those events that bring us to the very core of where you're as scared as you can possibly be, are important for us to get over fear.
I think it was my spirit animal, and that's what it was designed to do. And I've looked into it ever since, and now I know that it's true. But wow, the fact that my first car was a Mercury Cougar, and then I had that experience, is like, wow.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
When I was in college, freshman year, I decided I wanted to go to the most remote place I possibly could in the White Mountain region of where I live. And there's this wilderness area that is just doesn't get any more remote. The furthest from roads is about 6.5 miles from the nearest road. So I went in there alone, and I backpacked to the center of this boreal marsh wetland where two rivers come together. I mean, nobody would ever go there besides me. I was there because I wanted to go to a place where it was the furthest away from humans as possible. I've always had that in that sense inside me where I'd be in people for a long time, and I would have to get away and get back to that. And so here I am, literally in the middle of nowhere, 6 miles from the nearest road, and it happens to be fall during the rutting season for bull moose. And my roommate was the only one who knew about. My parents didn't even know where I was or anything. And I woke up in the morning, ice covering everything, late September, first cold fall day of the year, to this terrifying experience of over 1,000-pound bull moose charging me on this gravel bar that I was staying in. And this event that transpired over the next 20 minutes with me running back, and this bull moose literally could have trampled me and killed me at any moment. And I don't know if you're aware, but the bull moose is the most dangerous animal in North America.
Is it?
There's no other. Yes, people don't know that. They think of grizzly bears or something as being the most dangerous, but the bull moose,
Are they just real territorial?
They're enormous, almost like a horse.
Yeah.
But during the fall, the males get extremely aggressive, and they will just charge somebody right down and kill them. And it's one of those things where there's misconceptions in our society that moose are a very peaceful animal, and majority of the year they are. But males get extremely almost like a steer during the rutting season, but worse. Anyway, I woke up to this over 1,000-pound bull moose with a full rack in the middle of nowhere, charging me at about 6 o'clock in the morning. And I looked at him, I stepped down, basically lost all my breath. It's almost like you're not even really alive anymore. You've now given up your life. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't speak. And so this event with this moose who surrounded my campsite, charged me about 4 times, right up within 10 feet of me. I could smell him. Anyway, that event with me running and escaping with my life, and many, many other events with above tree line and snowstorms, and ended up leading me to write it. That's the only reason I ever wrote in the first place. And so isn't it interesting that these events that occur in our lives, like your event, but also with my event, seem to push us in a certain path?
Yeah. This is when you start looking at your life retrospectively and see where you got that little push, that little nudge that took you down a certain way.
That was it.
It's very interesting, isn't it?
And I started writing for AMC Outdoors and Backpacker and magazines. And so then, but no truth and no spirituality and no connection, all this stuff didn't come till way later. It was like it wasn't the right time for it. But anyway. That was a nice story time, though. But anyway, let's just make it a long story short. You and I have led us a very similar path in terms of the kind of person we were seeking outdoors, treasure, all those types of things. And it tells me that maybe this kind of soul is kind of the same kind of soul all along. So.
I think so. I think so. Anyway, don't forget about that book, The Alchemist by Paulo Cohelo.
Oh, let me write that down.
Yeah, I wish I had it in front of me here. Do we have it here, honey?
Yeah.
I'll just hold it up.
You do?
Yeah, we'll just hold it up. You can take a picture of the screen, the thing. But
Sure.
this guy sold millions of books. Okay, it's like, wow. And it's
Alchemist.
not a very hard read. You probably read it in a day. How many? Let me see how many pages it has. It's like 190 pages. This is what, this is what it looks like.
Oh, cool. Paulo Cohelo? How do you say his name?
Coelho.
Coelho? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for...
Yeah, and actually, he's done several different books here. You can see the back.
Wow, he's written a lot of books.
Yeah, he's actually, I think he's a Brazilian. Where is he from? Let me see.
It looks like it.
Born in Rio de Janeiro in 1947. He's one of the best-selling and most influential authors in the world.
There's not a lot of writers that come out of...
The Alchemist, The Pilgrimage, The Valkyries, Brita, Veronica Decides to Die, 11 Minutes, The Zahir, The Witch of Portobello, and The Winter Stands Alone have sold 115 million copies in more than 160 countries. So there you go.